one. Right, let's get started. All right, so. Citizen comments, anything come through?
No.
Nothing. I don't see anyone here. Has anyone been approached? Comments from a neighbor? No, and no one's on, well, we have Lauren, okay. All right. December minutes. Anybody have changes? I didn't see anything to change. I thought this was great, Robin. Thank you. Anyone have anything to change? If not, can we get a motion to accept?
Motion to approve the minutes.
All right, and a second, we have Margaret and. Yeah, so we just got to citizens' comments. Are you here for that?
No, I just wanted to see
Oh, okay.
what goes on.
All right, great. All right. Administrative report. So I'm up first. Everything I have is related to the Residence Academy and other topics. I'm going to skip and I will pass immediately to.
Mission update. Okay, I have lots of things today. So exciting. First of all, I don't know if you guys have listened to the podcast, but I did listen to the podcast today. It was great. Really enjoyed it. I like podcasts. So Lebo just did the podcast on the CRB. So it's really well done. Thought it was great. Let's see, the commission last night talked about sewer work a lot because that's such an exciting topic for everyone in this room, but we're under a consent order by the EPA to clean up sewers so that we don't have stormwater running into our sanitary sewers, which then have the sanitary sewers overflow and they're gross. So we did talk about sewers and how much work is being done on sewers. And it was all very interesting for those of us that like infrastructure. Probably the best thing about the commission meeting was a presentation by Tessa Watkins, who came in wearing this lanyard, which is for the sunflower. It's a sunflower lanyard. And what it does is if you are wearing this, it indicates that you have an invisible disability. And Tessa came to the commission meeting talking about this, talking about how for those groups that have signed up for Sunflower, you can get this if you have an invisible disability. And then there's another lanyard that you get if you have been trained to help people with invisible disabilities. This was very well received by the commission and the staff that was there. Nick Sahida, who is our fire chief, has taken the lead on being the point person for Sunflower. We're agreeing to look into this and hopefully go along with it. The trick would be to get both the fire department and the police department trained in handling people with invisible disabilities. And this would be the indication that they had that. So we would also look to, I think Keith was mentioning some of our staff that is managing our front desk and places like that, so that anyone that came in that was having any kind of issue, someone would be trained to help. Additionally, snow angels, if any of you have teenagers or young kids that you want to get some energy out, have them sign up to be snow angels. This is an effort to get the sidewalks cleared, especially for people who are elderly, disabled, any other reason that they can't do their own, but it's for everybody's safety. I mean, really, we should all have our sidewalks cleared. Community Service Award was mentioned last night again, so hopefully you all will get some more people signing up for it. And then finally, I spoke to Keith McGill and Jason Haberman about coming to your meeting, which was something that you had asked for. They've agreed to attend either in February or March, whichever month you want. So you just need to let me know and I'll make sure that happens.
Thank you.
Questions, thoughts, concerns?
Just have one comment on the sunflower thing.
Yeah.
Is that something that could also be incorporated into the handicap name tags in cars?
I don't know. That would be a good place
Because
though.
you
Yeah.
hear a lot of pushback where, people will say that, I saw somebody getting out of their car that had a handicap sticker, tag, and,
Sure.
they don't appear to be handicapped. And if we're going to try to get this kind of universal, just.
Yeah, that's a very good suggestion. I'll pass that one on. Yeah, I actually was at the swimming pool one day and got called to the main office because somebody had seen me getting out of my car with a handicap sticker. What they hadn't seen was my child in a wheelchair who had already gone up. It was okay. And I said, do you want me to get them out of the pool so you can see? He said, no, we knew. But yeah, that does happen. Sure. No, good suggestion though. Thank you.
All right, anything else, Ian?
That's it.
Okay, Laura.
Everything that I would have is under other items on the agenda, so.
So skipping you. Robin.
I don't have anything.
Nothing.
Everything's been kind of stagnant since the holidays, so probably in February I'll have more to talk about.
Exciting.
Yeah, it should be, it's ready to go. They just basically need to flip a switch and install the little monitor thing. So as soon as I know more, I'll let you know, but right now nothing's happened.
All right, and then our junior board member. So Luke, I see you here. Anything you'd like to
Yeah.
share with us?
So because I didn't have anything last time, I made a note in my phone, like when you get back from break, start asking people. So when I got back from break, I got back a few days late and I started asking people like what if I literally asked like, hey, if I want to share something with people in local government, what would you like me to share? And it was funny because everyone said, I can't even think about that right now because midterms are coming up. We have finals coming up. And I was like, you're right. That's true. That's what I was thinking about. So I thought like it would be cool to just highlight something about midterms because it's something that can, first of all, I've only had to deal with finals twice in my high school career because COVID, we didn't have them my freshman year, the last part, the spring semester, we didn't have finals. My sophomore year, we didn't have them at all. And then last year, they were like a little pseudo final for the winter semester because it was like they could only bring your grade up, but it couldn't bring it back down. It was like this weird thing. So I had to deal with it my winter semester and my spring semester, my winter semester, my freshman year, and spring semester last year. So it's honestly something that's like kind of no one's really used to, but especially freshmen aren't used to because they've never had to deal with anything like that before. And so I started talking with a club I'm part of. It's called Link Crew, and a big aspect, and it's just to sum up what they do is kind of integrate the freshmen into high school. It's like our orientation process, but basically it's more personal. You kind of 2 people get partnered up, actually 4 people get partnered up with one freshman homeroom. And you're kind of like their buddy per se throughout the first semester of their high school career. And the way it ends is this big little celebration called Cocoa and Cram. I think it's, if I'm not mistaken, it's Monday or Tuesday next week, where all the freshmen come to center court and essentially study with I think most freshman teachers are there, and as well as Link Crew members. So it's kind of like this big study session. And yeah, it's just something I wanted to highlight. That's the mood of everyone in the high school. That's what I'll be going into next week. My finals, helping the freshmen with finals. And so that's what's going on with the high school right now. I thought it was funny because I made an effort to ask people like, what's going on? They were like, Luke, like, dude, just stop. I don't even want to think about it. So.
All right. Well, good luck, Luke.
Thank you.
That's why Karina's not here, by the way. She has a big test to study for and wasn't able to take the time. So
Okay. All right. Thanks for asking though. That's great.
Of course.
All right, let's go on to continuing business. So diversity, equity, and inclusion initiative. So I think, did you have to do last
I did not do it.
time?
No, I did, yeah, I think I was supposed to get some stuff ready for about the survey based on the
Next
feedback.
survey.
Yeah. So I have some more thoughts that I'm gonna put some stuff together here for
Okay.
the next meeting.
Okay, and then was there anything you had pulled? Didn't have anything new, right? Okay, and are there updates that you have for us? Anything that you have for us?
Nope, my only one was Jason coming in February.
Okay. Okay,
Oh, Justin.
all right.
Oh, man.
So we have, where does this stand? So we presented the list of the revised list. You guys pulled that together and we gave that to you. You gave us the updates on where those things stood. Are there action items for us at this point?
The one thing I think we have to resolve or come together about is the climate survey, because staff has some questions about the ability to do that because they've never seen one that worked. They've never seen an example of one used in a municipality. So I think we really need maybe a small meeting of people to really talk that through and see what we can or can't do. And also bring Ian in on it, because you had suggested, I think, adding some questions to the comp plan and some things like that. And I'd like Ian to say what he thinks he can do and can't do. I don't want to answer for him. It's not my expertise. Okay.
Okay, so how do we want to, are they waiting for us to offer up dates and times for that, Ian, do you think, or to get a group of people together?
Yeah, give me a couple of you.
Yeah, so I don't, so my issue with the talking about the whole climate survey was that it doesn't, it's. The feedback that we had gotten before was essentially that that's not gonna be possible.
Right.
That, so we can't do a climate survey, so. So then the amended recommendation was to basically add questions to existing surveys, but we didn't have the questions. The survey was already completed by the time we wanted to add questions, so. I think essentially what the recommendation is going to be is to add. DEI related questions to all preceding
Surveys going
surveys moving
forward.
forward and
Yeah.
being able to. But also being able to, for us to access that information, for anybody to access the kind of the DEI. Components as well as the other results, but for our purposes, what the ones we're concerned most with would be the DEI ones, and. So that's, I think, where it's coming into, but that's why I guess. So we can at least have an understanding whenever we or solicit feedback from the community. Who is responding, what the responses are based on who is responding, so that we can at least have a better idea as to. What the response is based on different DEI factors. So that's kind of where my head's at least.
Okay.
If anybody else has any other comments?
So how many of you want to meet with, I would say Ian, Laura, me, probably Keith will want to sit in too, but I think it's important that we get down what we think we can, what the township feels they can do, the municipality, and what they can't do. Be realistic about it, so I don't want you guys spinning your wheels. I understand that's frustrating, so let's air it out, talk about what can and can't be done. I mean, I think that's the best place to start. You okay with that?
Sounds good to me.
Do you have availability during the day, any of you, or how many of you want to come? Start there.
Yeah, whoever wants to go.
I mean, I was on that original.
Yeah,
working group,
yeah,
so-
Okay.
welcome to us.
I think Livia probably would want to
Yeah.
be.
That's three,
Three.
and you as well.
Yeah, 3 including us, then me, yeah.
Okay, so Noah, Adam and Livia.
I did, actually, I did, I went to a little function, holiday function, and I did speak with a couple people in the community, and their concern was, for the survey, and I thought I'd just pass it on. Was that, some of the older residents didn't feel like they had access to it, based because they don't do a lot of things online.
Oh, you mean the comprehensive plan survey? Is that the
I
one?
think or is that in the Ascend Levo one?
Yeah, that's.
That's a San Lugo,
Okay,
yes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I get the names.
There were paper copies available at the library and I think here at the
Yeah.
municipal building. It's not
Maybe it
right.
wasn't,
Yeah, it.
They didn't
they might
know.
not have-
Yeah.
yeah, so I don't know if they could like maybe,
I imagine that.
Maybe that could go in the
I mean, that all
magazine, too.
goes.
Well, we're in the process of doing the comprehensive plan, so that, Laura, correct me if I'm wrong. We went out with questions initially, and I believe there will be some more questions put out. So,
The survey is just part of the whole plan. There was public outreach, July 4th, the car show. Right now Ian's putting together focus groups in 3 different subject matters. And Leah, as the representative to the comprehensive plan, you'll be asked to join that focus group, and their parents on that group and other community representatives and residents that'll be invited to those focus groups. And they're very focus groups on specific issues. So.
great,
pass it on there too, but I would pass it on.
great. Okay, good, thank you.
Laura, what are the issues that the focus groups are gonna focus on?
They are specific to some of the things that were, so what they've done is they've taken all the input that has come in and they've put it into topics. And I don't want to misspeak. I know one is mobility and infrastructure. I know one is community engagement, which would include DEI. And then there was a third group, and I can't for like sinus infection, it's in my brain. I don't remember what that is, but and the hopes are to keep those conversations targeted. But there's about, I think, 15 people in the focus groups that will be invited. And then again, they're going to go back out. There's going to be more in this phase. Once they kind of have some things to take to the public, then they're going to bring it out and say, okay, here's what you said. Here's what we heard. Is this right?
Right.
Then it will come back, and then it will go to yet a third phase. So it's going to take the entirety of this year to get to a final plan that's then going to go in front of the commission to be adopted. So yeah, the survey is not at all supposed to be the only thing that's used.
So we know who on this group then.
Wants to, so I'll just email you all and we'll figure out a time.
Okay.
Sounds good?
Good, okay, thank you.
I know the other topic we covered was around training, and I think it was Livia, right? Did she lead that one? And all of that information was provided. The notes here from the minutes from the last meeting said that this was provided to the
Township.
right. So there's no action for our group, right? No one's
No,
waiting.
no
for us, we're
action
just
for our
digesting that.
right.
Okay.
Mhm.
And then the other one was the events calendar. That was, I think you spearheaded that one. That says share with the Mount Lebanon Partnership. Is that something we are doing or?
Okay, let's have that discussion, can we? I mean, I know that that was something that you were asked to do. I have misgivings about that. I'll just be very honest, because that's the kind of person I am. The Mount Lebanon Partnership, as I understand it, really was formed to help the business communities and have the business communities thrive. Is not working with the library, for example, and some of our other places more productive than the business district doing it? I'm just kind of confused about this. I mean, I don't see what their role would, or why they would be that concerned about it. Really blunt.
I mean, I know one concern has been that the partnership exists, correct me if I'm wrong, outside. I mean, they're their own 501c3.
Yes.
So for example, when we did Lebo Pride, they acted as our fiscal sponsor, whereas like the library or the municipality isn't able
To do
to
that.
do
Sure.
that.
Okay.
So that's why the partnerships with these outside. What is the correct term for them, with the partnership and?
I understand the whole
Okay,
501c3 thing. I
yeah,
used to do this for a
so-
living, so I get it now. I
Yeah,
understand.
I mean, but that's just one example. I
Yeah.
don't know if that's the case for all of the events listed.
But
I think so, just like the big ones I thought.
Yeah,
Yeah.
some of them didn't look like they needed funding per se. I
Right.
mean, they looked like they could be housed. You know, maybe we do an article in the magazine, maybe we pull books on Martin Luther King. Perfect
We already,
example.
we do a lot of this stuff
Stuff, yeah.
already, and Laura has a lot of things already planned, you know, like Veterans Day events and things like that. I think some of the things that we have been working on since Laura and I have started working together is cross promotion and making
Yeah.
sure we're sharing the information out, like what we're doing, what they're doing, and all that kind of thing. But there are a couple of gaps, and you know, it made sense to create the events calendar so that we're aware of what's
And we
going
knew,
on.
I
and
think this
sure
was
we're
happening
covering.
so long ago, but some of these
Yeah.
things were happening.
Yeah.
That has happened, you know,
Right,
since
right.
then.
And the other thing was that there was concerns about events like Lebo Pride that about the sustainability of the events, and that bringing on an established organization to help to help coordinate would be part of being able
Yeah.
to sustain the events.
And Lebo Pride makes sense to me to have the partnership doing what they were doing. I mean, you have to get parade permits and all of the other things. Makes a lot of sense to me. I just didn't understand if you were doing a lecture series, for example, why the business district? That didn't make sense to me. That
It wasn't, the partnership wasn't for all those, yeah. Some
Okay.
of these have already been happening.
Okay.
Okay, so for the events that were on the calendar that haven't occurred yet this year. Do we know which of those the municipality is moving forward and which of them don't have attention yet that maybe our board wanted to try to add to that list? Or I think that was the ask from the commissioners that started this with us was,
We got any
notice
Rainey
of
and
what,
Foster?
which ones we were supposed to get a list. I don't think we were given
Okay.
what.
So to me, it seems like maybe we take the list of the ones you've boiled it down to. Figure out which ones the municipality is already doing. And then I thought that the other commissioners, Rainey and Foster, had asked us, which additional events did we want to try to get some, some effort behind? And then I thought the idea was if they don't require a budget, they don't require that, that's something that our board would take the reins on and maybe get additional volunteers, or we ourselves would try to piece it together. I thought that's sort of where that list was going, does anyone remember that differently?
I remember the
Got
conversation.
conflicting information.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
So, I mean, so, I mean, you know,
You got one personality,
yeah, so,
me.
Very
like,
signal.
when Commissioner Flynn was with us, he basically said, don't do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
He said, don't do that, you shouldn't be actually promoting events. In
Yes, for
fact,
that other list, that's right.
He said, have a list, figure out who's gonna keep the list, which we can't figure out who even keeps the list. And then maybe we can get other community groups to organize it, but we shouldn't be the organizer.
I remember.
So, but that was sort of different than I was feeling like we were being tasked before.
Right.
So,
Commissioner Foster.
anyway, that's.
What are you most comfortable with?
So
Are you comfortable with going ahead and looking at the list and saying, here's where we think the gaps are? And when we could look for partners to do some of the events, and or some of them may be ones that we can be doing through the library or through the magazine or through some other, maybe the partnership.
So the first question was, who keeps the calendar?
That's a good
Because we were
question.
told, because we've been told, we can develop a calendar, sort of like, where would we post it? Like, that's a question. And then we were told, well, we shouldn't keep the calendar. So having clarity, where does this Google Calendar of DEI events live? So that there could be, yeah, I mean, so that's the question. So that there can be some coordination within the wider community.
Sure.
About this, because some of these other community groups are taking on, and we should just put it on the calendar.
Right,
So that we
sure.
know someone's gonna put a Juneteenth picnic on, and that
Right,
Legal
yeah.
Pride's, Legal Pride is handling handing
There,
Pride Month.
sure.
So like, and then we could act strategically, I would think, in saying, can we help a community group promote this event so our town has one? Or, would we actually organize it?
Right, and that,
Yeah.
in recognizing that those events that we would organize would be just filling in occasional gaps for
Yeah.
whether, for some reason, there was no Black History event or something like that happening, which I know that there are.
Well, I
like,
mean, but
that kind of stuff.
I don't think, we're about to hit MLK
sure, yeah, I would
weekend.
hope
Mount
so.
Lebanon does not have any marking of MLK weekend.
The library does a lot for all of these different things.
Mhm.
We have
Yes, you do.
displays, we're closed for Martin Luther King Day, but we have
Mhm.
displays of books, we have events surrounding. Same with Black History Month, we have, some of our book discussion groups select books specifically for
Yeah.
Black History Month. We have, again, displays and programs and things all month long. We do that for pretty much every month of the year with the various stuff.
Yeah.
So there is a lot going on in the community, and a lot of it is centered at the library. Just because it makes the most sense for our organization to be able to offer these things, and for the other departments, not so much maybe.
But I guess what I'm saying is like, there's the, so what the library does is fantastic, great, but there's not like sort of a keynote event for the community. Where like, we're saying.
So,
Communities are gonna show up
Mhm.
and the commissioners are gonna stand there and we're gonna get, the scouts do the color guard and like, there's no sort of keynote event marking Martin
And I
Luther
think-
King, so.
The question has just always been, which of those is it appropriate for the municipality to be a part of, and which is it more appropriate for the community to create the event or
I
lead
think
the
that's
event?
been the frustration is that when events was part of the DEI ad hoc group, that was the group I was in.
Yeah.
And we were tasked to do, but so we did all this work and, put together this calendar
Yeah.
but we're still asking the question, over a year later, like,
Absolutely.
so what can we do? You know, and we're this far in. So I think that's the frustration, like just getting a clear answer of who can do what.
Yeah, we just need an answer.
Yeah, got it. Okay, thank you. I will put my head with Robin and Laura. And let us talk through what we think the government can do versus where it should be done with other independent groups. And acknowledging the keynote idea. I mean, there may be, I mean, seems to me there are some,
Veterans Day Memorial Day. I mean,
Yeah,
like, you know,
of
such
course.
like,
Yeah.
you know,
of course.
why not MLK and Indigenous peoples? So like, yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
I understand what you're asking. I don't know that I have the answer.
Yeah.
But I will find out now that I understand exactly what you want to know.
And I think 9/11 is very well recognized also, you know, it's sort of
Yeah.
the things where I feel like there's clearly community focus and a community message on certain holidays and events, which of course are very important, but it's, you know, something worth examining. And Laura, for example, like for MLK Day, is there a Lebo alert or anything that comes out saying, you know, there's resources at the library or things or there's events at the library? Just curious.
No, the library does very good publicity on their own. They have their own Lebo alerts and newsletters, and all that is placed in their outreach. Last night in Ann's community report, though, she did report on MLK Day, and again, reminding people what it means and that the ask is to volunteer and give back to your community. And then we had things in the magazine as well. Same thing for Black History Month and Juneteenth and things like that. So.
And the municipality does a great job of cross-promoting the library events. Like I said before, she's always, you know, sharing our Facebook posts and things like that. And the coverage in the magazine has increased significantly since Laura's taken over, so I appreciate that very
Exponentially.
much.
All right,
Good.
thank you, Ann.
Well, no, thank you. I appreciate your patience. I've got a lot of mixed messages flying at me and I'm like, okay, where does the group stand? That's what I'd like to know. So now I know.
All right, anyone have any other content on DEI?
Yeah, just in terms of, are we gonna get Jason here? in
Yes,
February?
Yes, she
Yes.
said March or April, I think you said.
And I said February or
February or
March. If you want Jason to come in February, I'll ask if Jason and Keith would like to come as well. If they can both come in February. Keith gave me the nod that
Great.
I had actually said January, February, and he said, yeah, January might be a little soon because Jason's just taken over. So I
Right.
said, okay, February or March.
Yeah, I would just suggest.
February.
Yeah, February would be
Okay.
great. And in terms of how we want to handle that conversation, in terms of curating it, open-ended, Jason's response to our recommendations, I don't know if that's been shared with him or not.
I have not shared anything with Jason, but just so you understand how I usually operate, I go to Keith. He, you know, I think that's me, I'm sorry, forgot to turn my phone off. I typically go right to Keith. I don't go to staff people directly otherwise and ask for their time because it's not appropriate. So Keith's the one I went to and Keith said, yes, he would make Jason available. And I shared with Keith what you had requested. Whether he shared it with Jason or not, I don't know. But I can find out.
Which was the information on the
Yes.
pulled together the
Yes.
police communication,
Mhm.
okay.
And they were very interested in coming. I think I would, you know, as a matter of course, I'd let Jason have an opportunity to tell you what he's doing and what his plans for the police department are, especially in community policing, because I know it gives it a lot of thought, has given it a lot of thought, so.
Who, were you on that group? Or, oh, you were. So if he did, as Ann said, gave us an overview, sort of where, what he's doing, what he's thinking, would you be able to provide, you know, sort of a summary of the group's, you know, the consent, what the group came up with, and could you provide that back to him
Sure.
in the meeting? Okay,
Great.
maybe that's a good way to
Okay.
have. Would you, is that a good counter, do you think, or would you
Yeah,
recommend another?
I mean, I think from my perspective, we want to create some open dialogue.
Yeah.
But we've made some recommendations. I'd love to hear what the chief has to say regarding those, what his response would be.
Definitely.
All right, so February, thank you again.
I'll make sure he's seen the recommendations too, because I don't know I don't know what Keith's done, but I'll just ask Keith to make sure he shares it with.
He was just sworn in this month, right?
Yeah,
Like
I mean,
last week or
yeah, last Tuesday, I think it was. Yeah,
Okay, anything else on PEI from anyone? All right, let's move on to the magazine column. Margaret, that's you.
Okay, so I think we basically concluded last month that there really isn't enough content that's CRB specific enough for our column. And so that if we could continue feeding information to Laura, that would be helpful. So I have a good suggestion here from Pam, which I'll pass on to you, I'll email it to you. There's basically a new group at the high school called Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders, and we have a contact for that. And so that's something else too, where a junior board member can be helpful. Like if you just become aware of new groups at the high school that may help to reflect, you know, the diversity and underrepresented groups in Mount Lebanon, things that go along with our welcoming community and some of the goals of the CRB, you know, that would be great. So, and yeah, so that I just think as a general overall board, you know, if anybody thinks of somebody, knows of a neighbor, you know, for example, like my neighbor is a veterinarian, there's a big increase in the demand for vet services, the pandemic pets. And so like there was a great cover feature on her, and you know, since I knew her, I helped to kind of shepherd that along. And so that's just the sort of relationships which I'm sure we all have with people that, you know, would be great features for the magazine. So it's something I think we could all work on as a board. And you can always, even if you just want to email Laura directly, and then you can just copy me. So I just sort of get a sense of, you know, how many ideas are coming in. So yeah, that's it. So.
And if I could call out Noah, he did follow up with some excellent sources for the story, the Turkish immigrant population. So thank you very much. That's exactly what we're looking for. So.
Yes, yes, exactly, right. Exactly, so that's it for that.
And in the last 10 minutes, there are a whole bunch were at.
Coming under the wire.
To your right, and then next. So there's a whole bunch that were produced 10 minutes before the meeting.
Yeah.
You'll get to that sometime.
All right. Very much, right, last minute inspiration.
All right, okay, and then anything more in the magazine?
That's all I have.
Okay, mediations.
Yeah, so the mediations have been kind of quiet. I think maybe with the holidays and cold weather, people are inside, there's less neighbor tension. But yeah, we did do a podcast with Laura, and that was really exciting. I'm glad we had a chance to do that. So you know, I think it's one of these things that's somewhat cyclical. I think it's very weather dependent, how many neighbor frictions we may have. So.
I was listening to the noise thing that you were commenting on because my neighbor just bought one of those cars that when it starts, it wakes me up every single morning. It's like, I'm like, are you a little old for a car like that? I haven't said anything, but I've thought it.
Sounds like a fun car. You want to take a ride at that?
I know, right? So I shouldn't slash the tires is what you're saying. Okay, I'll behave.
Not until you call Margaret about it.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like, oh, my.
Right, sort of mediate this, I may have to check out. the
I know,
cars.
I know.
So that's all I have with that.
All right, Residence Academy. So Stephanie and Pam were at the first one. I was there as well. Do either of you want to make a comment about how it went or what you observed or?
I was only there for the first hour, but I thought it was a good rollout. I think that the group that was there was enthusiastic and
Good question.
yeah, so
Really?
there were a lot of questions
A lot of
actually.
good, yeah, really nice. And I loved it. I don't know, I expected it to be maybe a little dry, like, you know, finance and. I don't know. It was
Really engaged,
so
yeah.
good. I learned so much. It was great. Highly recommend.
So I just had a couple of comments. So yeah, we had I thought a really good group of people, excellent questions. They seemed really engaged. The speakers were great. We set them up to know where to go next time. We have, for anyone that comes, Laura's office everyone has a name badge. So if you show up, you have a name badge that has your name and it'll say you're on the community relations board. So come to anyone you want, it's fine. If you do come, just remind people to sign in. We try to remind everybody to sign in and make sure they give you back their name tags when they leave. Just easier to have them that way, but they all have a binder that they can keep the handouts in and any sort of materials that they get from the speakers. The next one's at the police, the safety building. It'll be police and the district magistrate will be there. So those are both on Thursday. So feel free to, yeah, feel free to come, 6:30 to 8:30. Yeah, so I'll be there, I think. All right, Pam, so you're coming?
I don't think I can make tomorrow, but
What?
no, you know, I.
Yeah, I will be there.
I have a quick,
Sure.
I just realized we didn't, but maybe we decided not to, we didn't collect. Or we didn't do an evaluation and then are we waiting?
So I made a
We
feedback
decide.
form and it's in the binder.
Yeah,
And it's like 3 pages, but you can just add to it each week.
Okay.
So.
maybe we should
so-
remind people.
I'm gonna remind people every
It
session.
was mentioned,
Okay.
but I don't think there was a lot of emphasis on it. That's
Yeah,
probably
maybe
something to
at the end.
emphasize toward the end of each session.
Yeah.
Just so people pull that out and put their notes down. You know, by the time they're 6, 7, 8 sessions in, yeah, everything gets fuzzy.
Right.
So maybe in our closing.
Yep, that's a good idea.
Mhm.
Laura, did you have anything to add? You were there as well.
I just thought this group is incredible. They're very engaged. They're very interested. I'm really excited about it. I think it's going to be it's going to be a good session.
Okay, great. Anything else on Residence Academy? Okay, Citizen Service Award. Laura, how's that going?
We're still at 1. So, I mean, we do tend to get a mad dash at the end. I'll remind you again, we don't have a banquet this year. It's every other year. So if you are feeling like you want to extend it, we could extend it. It's not like we have to have it done and ready in time for the April banquet. So I'll keep you advised and you let me know. But again, please continue to push it. I did go to the PTA council meeting and I announced it there. Those folks have touched a lot of people in the community. So just try to get it out.
Maybe we can post a reminder in some of the community Facebook groups.
Oh,
I
yeah,
can try
sure.
to-
You can link it to, there's a link on the, through the magazine.
Yeah,
The
I'll
application
try to
page
reach
and
out to that.
Yeah, it's on our homepage. If you go to mountlebanon.org under trending now, there's a like a carousel of news items. It's in the news items. So if you want to go there and share that out through your networks, it's the easiest way to do it.
Does it have to be an adult?
Oh, neat. I wonder if we would have some similar feedback on this electronically that you got on the form. Wonder if there are people that aren't tapped in electronically that don't know about it.
I don't know.
We used to put the full form in the magazine and we weren't really getting any back from it. Because it takes a full page, which is expensive, but I mean, we could do something like that. If we need to add it, we can. But we weren't getting any nominations that way. And there's supporting documents that we like them to attach to. Sometimes they send links to news stories about people or web pages that they set up for, so.
Okay. So what is there a minimum age for the volunteer?
No. I don't see why there would need to be.
What about the student network? We get enough out to them about the people they interact with or the people that help them. I'm not sure if there's a communication mechanism through the high school.
There is the activities director.
Yeah,
They also have their newspaper.
Is the PTA, yeah, I don't know, maybe it's just an idea.
and I mean, the district also puts out a newsletter. Monthly, I think, I don't know, I can.
Just an
I
idea.
can look into
Okay.
it and see.
All right. Thanks. Anything else on the service award? Okay, so next topic, Robin put on here, thank you, Robin. Nomination of officers. So just a reminder, I'm done in March and I'll be off the board. Margaret's done in March for this role, but will remain on the board. So, but not you don't want a leadership role, right? That's right, yeah. So we're looking for anyone that wants to step up into the chair or co-chair roles. We've left time to talk about it. So is there anyone that would like to discuss? Maybe it's not something we want to talk about. I did hear from 2 people that wanted to meet and chat about the role, and our schedules have not aligned for that. And I'm not sure if they want their name mentioned, so I won't say. But if anyone is interested and wants to talk about it now, we have time to do so. We have 20 minutes. Anybody have questions about what it involves? I think we
How
went
much
over that
time does it
before.
usually take you? I'll start the questions,
Why
because I
not?
can't run. I can't be the chair. so-
Margaret, you can't, right, because
You're too
your
busy.
schedule.
Yeah, with me being in Chicago part-time, I'd be like, or, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think, so for the Residents Academy, that's a specific initiative. That's not unique to the chair, so I'll just drop that out. So the time involved is when new members are coming, really making sure we had, at the time, at least we were prepping to make sure we had some materials for them. That's all done now. So I think the bulk of time each month on a monthly basis is going over the agenda that Robin sent, and she's diligent. There's not much to do in that regard, except other things, that people have mentioned. If any of you reach out and say, oh, can we talk about this? Then I remind, Robin usually already knows, but if not, we put it on the agenda. Margaret and I do that together. She's usually ahead of me and she does it like a day before me, but sometimes we miss and one of us will check it before the
You
other.
say, Robin, the agenda looks great, send.
Yeah.
So that would be 20 seconds. Yeah.
I mean, I think there's, I try in between meetings. I haven't done it as much with all of the newer folks, but some of you I have. I try to reach out to people in between the meetings and talk to you about other things or about things on the agenda. We've had individual conversations. I find that really helpful. The prior chair did that with us. I didn't even realize she was doing it, but it was really helpful. We would come to the meeting and because it was a one-on-one conversation, there's no concern about the sunshine laws, but you find things where people are aligned or one issue that someone hasn't raised, but other people are thinking about it, things that you can bring up. I know there were some topics on our agenda that a lot of people were frustrated about. Ann and I had talked about that in email a little bit. I try in between the meetings to reach out to different people and talk. Ann and I had plans to get together. So I think it kind of comes down to what you want to put into it sometimes. What's required is to make sure the agenda is okay, that if Robin needs anything, you're getting it for her, that, all of you are interested in coming, that we keep you coming back. But I think there are other things you can do. And that probably just comes down to the person and how much time you want to spend on those things.
I think it's important to note too, that this is only going to be for 1 year because the boards are going to realign in 2024. So it'll all be up in the air and we'll have to elect new officers for the new boards.
Oh, that's a good point. Like when you think about the work on the mediations and the magazine, not just Margaret, but the magazine column that Margaret's working on, that's not because she's the co-chair, it's just because she's interested in that initiative, right? The Residents Academy, just because I'm interested in that initiative. So you don't have to hold on to those to be either of these roles. Did I answer your question, Ann? All right, so were we intending to have names today?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
According to the bylaws, the election for officers isn't until April.
Right.
So as long as we have names in March, I would say, then we could have the election in April.
Is there like a campaigning process, like the world's smallest campaign?
The bylaws are not that specific. I mean, if you want to find out.
If you volunteer.
There's two names, but I didn't know whether you guys are like,
Like cupcake kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
what's one of the names, but I was just curious, but there were two names.
So let's leave it on here. We'll talk about it next time.
Are you co-chairs?
Yes, but basically you're like the lead chair and I'm like the second.
But we pretty
so,
much
yeah.
do.
Yeah, maybe those two people.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's how it's listed in the bylaws. Officers, section 1, the officers of the board shall consist of a chairperson and a vice chairperson. So technically you're vice
Okay, that
chairperson. We've
makes sense.
just
I'm the
always
vice
called it
chair, right, so
chair.
we just- chairperson, vice chair,
yeah.
that makes sense,
The
right? Yeah.
chairperson shall preside at all meetings and hearings of the board and shall have the general powers and duties customarily conferred under accepted parliamentary procedure. In the absence of the chairperson, the vice chairperson shall preside.
I guess that's another thing we do is we make sure one of us is always.
Yes, right.
We do chat in between.
I don't think there's ever been a meeting since the two of you took over that one of you wasn't here. Like,
Right, yeah,
Right,
there's always
at
a make
least one of you
sure,
here.
we usually
Yeah.
check. If she's gonna be in the air, then I make sure I'm here. If I'm not here, then she comes in.
right.
All right, so we'll.
The only thing I would throw in is that chair should really be comfortable and okay with public speaking because they do present the Citizen Volunteer Award at the banquet and do address the Residents Academy as well. So it should be somebody who's comfortable with that.
And you may be called to present to the commission, a discussion session or something.
We had Leah, you did a presentation for the citizens for too. All right, let's move on. The new business. Anybody have additional topics, new things to add? New topics to cover? Anything new? No one else joined? Okay, nothing new? Takes us through the agenda. All right. We need a motion to adjourn. All right, thank you, Leah. Okay, thanks, everybody. Sure.
Never mind.
Thanks, Lou.
I know.
Thanks, Laura.
Thank you.